Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 2, Episode 50. We're at 50. We're almost done with the year, my friend. I am your host, Eric. My main man right there. Ron, how are you tonight?
I am fired up, ready to go.
Fired up, ready to go. 13 going on 41. Fans out there that are watching live, you'll figure out what that means once we get into it. So a lot to unfold this week in the sports world. We are going to start off with our lead-off story, and that is one Carlos Correa, who signed a 13-year, $350 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. So it's not about the contract so much as we're going to ask in our leadoff story, have the baseball contracts just gotten too far in advance when it comes to the years and what they're doing? Your thoughts on that process and where we're going. So Correa, 28 years old, be 41 by the time this contract's over.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to have to deal with the final 5 years of that contract. Cannot wait. Look, he rolled the dice on himself. He scored big time. Kudos to him for getting that money.
Yeah, he put that opt-out in Minnesota. So it was only it was a 3-year contract, but he had an opt-out. So he only played 1 year in Minnesota.
Yeah, that to me, that's kind of crappy. I mean, Minnesota was a good team. It's kind of a shame, to be honest with you, but this is what he chose to do. And he left Minnesota high and dry, basically.
Yeah, so I started to look at it this way. A lot of people could sit back and say, hey, the Aaron Judge situation. Aaron Judge can be a DH. Carlos Correa is a very good fielder. He won the Gold Glove. He won the Platinum Glove so far in his career. He only bats career lifetime 279. He's not a home run hitter. He doesn't really hit for power. So what do you do with him at your DH? You put a guy at DH, it's normally because he's going to at least give you some pop in that lineup. Yeah. He's not going to be able to play defense, I'm going to say, after 35, to your point, right? Maybe 7 years down the road. So what do you do for the next 6 years? You just have him DH and bat 270 and hit 20 home runs for the season, if that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, see, I think they've overpaid for this player. Personally, I'd rather have Xander Bogaerts. I thought he's a better shortstop. Maybe not glove-wise, but all around, he is, in my book, better. And if not, at least comparable. I mean, I just think Xander Bogaerts brings more to the table as far as batting average.
Yeah, right. He's a 300 hitter.
And
Xander over 300. So when you look at that part of it, again, if you're going to have a DH, you're going to say, okay, he's going to get on base more. Guy's batting 279. Carlos Correa lifetime 279.
Yeah.
You can only expect that to go down. It's not like he's had his best year, 2017, he batted 315. He hasn't batted 300 any other time in his career.
Right.
So what do you do with this guy at 35, 36? He's going to be slower in the field, so the glove doesn't really become a factor. I think baseball has to start to look at this. Is it, hey, we could give you a 13-year contract, but there might be a team option to say, hey, after 9-10 years, we can void it. Or like, these players are going to have to understand that that's a lot of dead money that these teams are going to be holding on to that they're never going to get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they are able to do after this contract gets a little old and a little stale and a little bitter. Fans are not going to be appreciative of any more of those Bobby Bonilla kind of contracts.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's still getting paid, right? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And financially, these teams, that's why they flounder. they end up cutting guys and moving on and trading players because they just can't afford to keep dead money
Yeah.
for years and
Like,
years.
I can understand 7-8 years to a guy that's like 23 to 27.
Yeah.
I can understand that. But I'm not giving anybody that. I'm not signing a guy for that amount of money, and he's going to be in his 40s when he's finishing.
Yeah, like
I'm not
Soto, I
doing it.
think. Yeah, Soto, I think was 23, if I'm not mistaken, maybe in that early 20s. So by the time his contract, like that's a 13-year contract. That makes sense to me. He'll be 35, 36 by the time the contract. Okay. Why
Yeah.
am I paying a 36-year-old guy 20, $30 million a year when he can't do the things I need him to do?
Right, and this is what I was saying. When you have Justin Verlander getting that 2-year deal, that's a great deal because you're only on the hook for those 2 years. If you get 1 year with Justin Verlander, like he was this past season, you've already made out. And then year two, if he's just an average pitcher, which I find it hard to believe, but you know, I think you can live with that. If you've got one solid year from him.
Yeah. I just so let me ask you this: you think the Giants are going to regret this?
Oh, absolutely. I think they might already be regretting it because once they look, it's like, hey, he has a 279 career batting average. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What? Sports Unfolded said what? Wait a minute.
He's not a power hitter.
Wait,
Damn.
huh? 64 RBIs last season. 64, 22 home runs.
Right.
I'm
not giving anybody that much money. That's
right. That's an
sorry.
average. That's an average ball player.
Yeah.
And I get the glove, the defensive part of it. Okay, but not for 13 years. He's not going to be a solid defensive shortstop for 13 years.
No, because he's eventually going to move over to either first base or DH permanently.
Right, and it's just I don't know.
It's a bad deal. Look, 22 home runs, 64 RBI, like you said. That is not going to be a top paid player on my team anytime ever.
But and then you wonder why people complain about all these guys that actually had career years and they're getting this kind of money. It's because they're paying guys that don't deserve it ridiculous money. So those guys ask for even more money.
Right. And
you're
this is
just
why
never gonna,
it keeps escalating.
Baseball's going to fail because of these contracts. At some point, the ticket prices, which are the most in all of sports, so it's not even like you sit back and you say, okay, the tickets are affordable for fans to go. They're raising their ticket prices every year because they got to pay these contracts.
Yeah. Look, this is going to catch up with Major League Baseball. I've been saying this now for a while, and it is starting to get there because when you look at the fan participation among the sports when they're younger, baseball is on a decline.
Yeah.
Basketball is on the rise. So, football has already passed them. Basketball, if it hasn't already, it will within the next year or two. And then
the NHL,
you got to watch out for the NHL and soccer.
Yeah. And you got to look at the fact that the contract, the TV deal that the NHL pulled off. So now they're on just regular, cable networks, and there's people now that can see them. It's not as hard as if your local market and only watching that one team. Right. You can watch several different teams. That sport's going to grow quicker because, again, it'll be affordable for people to watch.
And it's more fun to watch.
Yeah, and baseball.
Baseball is terrible to watch.
Yeah, and you could sit back and say that they're trying to blame it on the speed of the game, and it's going to be they're going to outprice themselves. They're going to put it to a point where people just won't want to go because, again, why am I going to sit there for 3.5, 4 hours, watch something that's kind of mundane and doesn't keep my interest, and then I'm going to pay more money than I would to go see a basketball game for 2.5 hours.
Right.
It makes more sense.
In that basketball game or the hockey game or the football game, and in a lot of cases, the soccer game, you're going to see better athleticism. Think about it. I mean, you can watch a no-hitter, and that's exciting for a fan of whoever's throwing that no-hitter. But it's not a fan of anybody that just wants to watch a baseball game
Yeah.
you know, and not seeing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, when you can just turn the channel over to, like, say, the NBA, and you can watch, you know, Giannis slam dunk over, you know, what's the scumbag from Golden State Warriors?
Draymond Green.
Yes, thank you. You know, like who wouldn't want to see that? You know, then ground ball to Carlos Correa, and he's out.
If the San Francisco Giants need a play-by-play, we will gladly do that. But at 41, and Carlos Correa at shortstop, looking a little slower than normal at this point in his
Yes,
career.
yes,
But
yes.
you know, the effort was there for him to try to get that ground ball that went right by him because
Yeah,
he
ground
didn't see
ball.
it. Yeah.
Carlos Correa takes 2 steps. Oh, and he couldn't get to it.
Oh, and it's an
Oh,
error.
and he dropped his cane too.
Oh boy. Carlos
So,
Correa was going to
so
attempt to steal the signals from the catcher, but couldn't see without his
yeah,
reading glasses.
yeah, and I guess
At
I
that
can
point,
strike him off my Christmas card.
yeah, he's done. Yeah, they're all done. A good
Yeah.
job. All right, let's talk some NFL action. And we're going to bring up the San Francisco 49ers, who won the NFC West last night, defeating the Seattle Seahawks 21-13. Question is, Ron, should they be considered a favorite in the NFC? Would
Well,
you
they've been
consider
playing pretty good, so
them? You want to use that. How many more times can you use that?
as long as he's there.
Okay. Yeah, Brock Purdy is, again, won another game for them. Looked a little bit shakier this game.
Yep.
But again, Shanahan runs a great offense and is able to make these guys, you know, succeed in all of his game plans when he does put something together. I would question, look, the number one defense in the NFL. They are a great defensive team. They have talent across the board too on the offensive side of the ball with Christian McCaffrey. You got Kittles. They're one of the best offensive lines. They'll get Debo back at some point at the end of the season here. They're also the number one scoring offense right now in the NFL. So,
hard to believe.
Right? So you start to look at all these pieces, and as good as Philadelphia is at 12-1, and they're in the top 5, they're second in defense and they're the number one scoring offense in the league, Philly. I think the 49ers they're definitely in the top 10. But can Philly go in and play a defense like that and still be successful? That would be the question. And I'm starting to believe in this defense for the San Francisco 49ers that might be enough to get past all these teams, because the only other team I really think that has a shot is Dallas. And Dallas, to me, there's too many question marks on their playoff performances in the past and what has happened. They have talent. Dallas is a very
Where's
talented
Manny
team
in all of this right now? Like, we're talking good about Dallas. Hold on. Let me be the naysayer in all this.
Okay, go for it.
Look, Dallas has all the talent to get around that, but we both know that they will fail miserably because they just can't do it in the postseason. And until they can, I'm not gonna be with them. You know, and that's it. I mean, let's face it. I mean, when you're talking coaching, I mean, it's like night and day between the two teams. And
Shanahan versus McCarthy.
Yeah,
McCarthy. I would take Shanahan all day, every day. And he beat him last year in the playoffs with a worse team. That team wasn't as good.
Right. And I look, you're going to have Debo in the playoffs, you know, McCaffrey. I mean, that is just so dynamic, those two guys. I mean,
that piece there, again, the question would be, without Debo, the health of Kittles and McCaffrey, because they're going to use them more and offensively. You're talking about positioning at this point. The crazy thing to think about it is, you know what I mean? What are they going to be, the 3rd seed? I think they automatically clinch the 3rd because Tampa's going to be the 4th seed if Tampa wins. So whatever team out of the NFC South is going to be the 4th seed. The possible matchups, they may face Dallas in the first round.
They possibly could.
Right? So it's going to be interesting to see, again, that matchup. Right now, as it stands, strength of schedule, Dallas has the toughest remaining schedule, a 606 win percentage. They got to face Philly, Washington, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. Jacksonville being their only game that's like a gimme.
Right.
Philly,
Well, I don't know if that's a
471.
gimme either.
Not any game anymore lately in sports, but Philly, 471 percentage. Dallas, the Giants, Chicago, and New Orleans. 3 very winnable games. San Francisco, 423. Washington, Arizona, and Vegas. So again, they get some wins here. You know what I mean? A couple of these teams get a loss. And can Philly lose 2 more games? Could they lose to
Yeah.
Dallas?
Well, San Francisco could, very easily be first or second.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see. If I was going to ask you right now, San Francisco in the Super Bowl,
I actually like that.
right? It's starting out. It's
Yeah.
I don't know why. And I like Hurts and I like Philly and I like what they've done. And yet somehow I'm not a believer that they're as good as their record shows. I still got that little piece of me that says it's the competition. And once
Well,
the
I just
competition
think,
in the playoffs,
it's like they've been there, done that kind of thing. San Francisco just really needs to get to the next step, and that is winning a Super Bowl. With this, squad on defense and whoever it may be, throwing the ball. I mean, it's all really academic when you think about it, because that is not the focal point of their team. It's just managing the game.
so
That's what the quarterback does for San Francisco.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me ask you this question. If Brock Purdy gets them, let's say, to the NFC Championship game and Jimmy Garoppolo's available, but Purdy didn't look good. It was more the defense made more plays and stopped teams
I
and
go
shut
with
them down.
Garoppolo.
You go with Jimmy G, you would make that switch in
Yeah,
the
I do.
championship game.
I do.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
it's out
I
there.
do.
It's in the universe. It could happen.
And that's going to be the catch, because I don't think San Francisco could beat whoever comes out of the AFC. I just think there are 3 AFC teams that are better than anybody in the NFC, and that is Buffalo, Kansas City, and I'll leave that other team unnamed because I still think they're going to be vying for it. Joe Burrow.
Okay. Cincinnati. We knew where you were going. We know exactly where you're going.
So I think all 3 of those teams are better.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose. So no matter what his decision is, there's going to be people that are going to be raising the question, oh, well, you shouldn't have made this move, or you should have made this move.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. Similar to, and I'm going to go back to 2001, the New England Patriots. Drew Bledsoe came in the AFC Championship game after Tom got hurt, won that game. There was a lot of controversy who they're going to start in the Super Bowl. And they went back to Tom. Jimmy Garoppolo has technically got them there further, has been to the Super Bowl. So you probably go with the guy that got you there in the past.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So I know we like to rant sometimes on this show, and my rant's going to be off the chain right now on this one, because the New Orleans Saints were fined for faking an injury during a game. Do you think the punishment should have been greater? So Cameron Jordan faked an injury to stop the play during the 4th quarter because the team was trying to, make a substitution with Tom's running down the field, trying to do the hurry up. The team got fined $500,000. And here's my problem. And let me begin, because I am tired of people talking about the New England Patriots and how dirty of an organization they were and how they cheat and all these different things, right? Spygate and Deflategate and all these.
Yeah, but the deflated balls really don't count because they found basically they were innocent.
It's all of it's a bunch
But
of
this
garbage.
is after they were already fined,
Yeah, they've lost number 1 draft picks, which no other team ever had in history. The biggest fines in NFL history at the time, right? All these different things, because obviously the reason they were winning is because they're cheating. The reason why nobody cares about the New Orleans Saints is because they haven't won. Because this team, everybody forgets about Bounty Gate. You know what they got for Bounty Gate? their coaches got suspended for a year, right? The GM half a year, some of the coaches, some of the one player, Vilma, right? All these things. $500,000, 2 second-round draft picks in 2012, 2013. But everybody doesn't remember either that last year they got fined $500,000 for breaking COVID-19 rules and not reporting guys and doing. They are just as dirty as any other team in the NFL. But nobody cared about this story coming out on Monday because, again, they don't win. They're a losing team. They're a losing record. If this was the New England Patriots right now and Matt Judon faked an injury to stop the clock, we would have been hearing about how they got to take away first-round draft picks and here the Patriots are cheaters again, and they've done it again. Can people open their eyes and see that cheating in the NFL is so common that, yes, the New England Patriots, I will not say, did not cheat or break a rule, but so does every other team. Open your eyes. It's only because for the last 20-plus years, the New England Patriots won. And that's all people focus on. Well, they've got to be cheating every single time because that's why they're so successful. So what about the teams that did get caught cheating and just stink?
Yeah.
They're just not as good.
You're absolutely right. And look, the Saints are skating through with these fines, and it really doesn't do anything because the players probably aren't even paying the fine.
Yeah.
It is the owner that's paying the fine. Say, hey,
well, that one hit the organization, but even that, like, how does that hurt the Saints? What do they make? Billions? Oh, they make billions. Oh my gosh.
And the Saints keep rolling along like it's no big deal. And there's been other incidents, with pumping false crowd noise and stuff like that, and no, that's okay.
Nothing. Honestly, if you want to look at Deflategate or even Spygate versus Bountygate, where they literally are physically trying to hurt players,
right,
for a cash reward,
right,
and you find the New England Patriots more for taping a sideline or a ball being deflated than you did for guys that were trying to take out players and prominent players like a Brett Favre and guys that were actually important to the league.
Yeah. I never get a chance to really say my piece about those deflated footballs. When an opposing team grabs the football and then they give it to the ref, well, what's to say that opposing football team didn't do something to the football? I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they did or did not, but I'm just saying.
How about instead of crying when you got your butt kicked in a game,
San Diego,
right? No, it was Indianapolis.
I'm just saying San Diego did a
but
lot of crying too.
Right, they all do. You still hear about LaDainian Tomlinson, who hates the Patriots, and then Marshall Falk, who still to this day said that they taped their walkthroughs in the hotel of the Super Bowl. That's why they won. It's just a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
Because you guys, and I guarantee in their organization, cheated as well. The Patriots did it better, and that's why they won more games. Sorry, that's the reality of it. I am not going to sit here as a Patriot fan and say, I don't believe they did things wrong, but I know every other team was doing it. How did Eric Mangini, who coached for the Jets that year that Spygate came out, know about what the Patriots were doing? Oh, wait, because he was involved before as well. And you don't think he was doing it with the Jets?
Absolutely.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Because even when Josh McDaniels went to Denver, hey, Jay, how are you? Thank you for joining. Even when McDaniels went to the Broncos the first time, he ended up getting fined and cheating for taping. Like that's what they did. Everybody's trying to do it, man. It's a part of the game. Somebody hold the Saints accountable as well. I'm sorry, just because they don't win doesn't mean they should get less of a penalty. You cheated.
No. Yep.
You got caught. Make sure the penalties are fair across the board.
Yeah.
I move on. Ron, what are your NFL games of interest this week? What should we be watching as an NFL fan? There's a bunch
there's
of
actually
them.
quite a few this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this.
I have 6 games.
Okay. You
probably
beat me again. I got 5.
Yeah, well, probably the least on that list is Detroit at New York Jets.
I have that one though. Yeah, it's a fun game. It's
Yeah,
a fun game because listen, the Jets need it because they're still in that hunt. The Lions get it; they're in the hunt,
right.
and it's crazy to think about. Detroit could make the playoffs, and this game will be a tall tale for them because again, it's in New York, a very good defense, but Detroit's won 4 of the last 5. They
I
are a
know.
very good team right now.
Yes, they are.
No,
They
I like
are.
that one. I like
Yeah.
that one. What else?
Another one. Another one is Cincinnati at Tampa Bay.
I have that one as well.
Um, I like the aspect that Tampa Bay is trying to get their act together, and they're
It
still
ain't going
trying to
so well.
get. No,
It ain't
it's not
going
going
so
so
well.
well. You know, it was a complete debacle last game for them.
Yeah, they got slapped. They
yeah.
got slapped. Tom did not
Yeah.
look good.
What kind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
just-
what? I mean, it's
But at
it's
this point, look,
ugly.
they're 13 games in. Can they really figure it out? Look, they just got to win enough games to get the division.
Yeah,
And then everything's 0-0. At that point, you say, okay, does he have one last magic run in him? I
if he
don't
gets
know.
in, I'd worry.
Yeah.
If I were other teams,
But
if he gets
again, and then the Bengals, look, they're trying to show they're the most dominant team in the AFC.
in, yeah,
And they're only a game out of the first spot. So they
Yep.
need it, and they can show. Look, we know, and I'm gonna blow your mind right now on this one. But could we possibly see the passing of the torch in this game? Joe Burrow may be that next great quarterback.
could be.
And this could be the Tom Brady, like, okay, he's riding off into the sunset. Or if you're on the TikTok, he's got that little boat now. That's the new one with the TikTok. There's a guy on a boat. That's Tom just, waving goodbye to retirement. But that game to me, that could spell a lot of different things for either retirement or people are going to start to talk about Joe Burrow as maybe the next great.
Was that a boat going through like maybe the Panama Canal to get on the other side of the ocean? To go to San Francisco. Okay.
Very good, Rod.
Okay.
What else do you have?
Yeah, I got Tennessee at LA.
Great minds think alike. That's a
Yeah.
playoff game.
Oh, it is.
Both of
It
those
is.
teams are in a playoff right now. It's a playoff. They must
look,
win.
they're both 7-6. They're
Yeah.
both trying now to catch the Patriots.
I can't believe I got to do this one for that.
But if they're patient
bad
enough, all they have to do is just wait till next week.
Yeah. Just, comes a bad performance against the Raiders. Get ready.
Yeah. So I think the winner of that team, of that game, does make the playoffs. But again, how good is it going to be? Because you're just going to get knocked out in game 1. So
Chargers need to win that game. I think they're trying to save their coach's job.
yeah,
He doesn't make the playoffs. Look, they put a lot of money, a lot of talent on that team. I know there's
Absolutely.
been injuries.
yeah. There's 3
But
coaches in that division that are on the hot seat.
Yeah. So to me, that's an important game. I'm going to state the obvious. I have Dolphins at Buffalo, the
Yep.
Bills. That game to me, definitely AFC East on the line. I think Buffalo is going to want to prove a point to say, look, we're the dominant team now in this division.
Yeah.
You guys can add your talent, but we're still going to be the better team. And Miami, I think it's a mental thing. They're talking more about, and all I keep hearing about is the weather and how cold it's going to be. And they're going to be so focused on that. I don't think they're going to be able to. Tua has never won a game in weather under 50 degrees.
Oh,
It's supposed to be in the 20s, if not, and that's without the
Good
snow
luck
and
with
the
that.
wind. Yeah, so
Good
I
luck
don't
with
see
that.
that one going well. And then I got the Giants at the Commanders, and that's important for both teams. Look, I think the Giants have been overachieving. The Commanders,
I've been saying it all year.
yeah, but even the Commanders, if you start to look at it, like all of a sudden Heineke came in, the Heineken man, and then
A much larger Heineke.
right? We trademarked that. That's ours now. But the opportunity now for either one of these teams to say, look, if we win this game, who expected them to be in the playoffs? Like one of these teams could be, unless it's that tie thing again, which who knows? Because the Giants last week they played for the tie, and I again in the NFL we've got to change that rule, but I don't know. I just it brings life to one of these fans, Washington or New York, to say, look, our team, they're in the playoffs. They could be in the playoffs. They win this game. What do you what's the other game you had? Because you said you had 6, or did you have a couple different ones?
The only other game I have is the New England at Las Vegas.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do it. Go ahead. Tell me why. Go ahead.
Well, because it's going up against, the offensive coordinator that you had last year.
Bill never does well against his former coaches.
No, he does not. But when you look
a Giants fan.
Look, I just think that he's a fraud. I'm just going to come out and say it. Las Vegas hired a fraud as a head coach. And like I said, I don't think he was calling all the plays in New England. I said it.
And can I say, I'm glad we brought up New England for a little bit. As much as we're bashing this team, right now they hold the 7th spot and are in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
So as bad as the offense is, and as horrible as Matt Patricia and Joe Judge are, and Bill's lost the team and lost control, and all these different things, their defense is
in a playoff
they're
spot.
fraud. They're in a playoff spot. I don't get it. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic in this game. I just feel like the Raiders have more talent, and at some point
they've had more talent than everybody this year.
I get it. You're right. I don't know. I just don't believe in the Patriots. But no, it's a good game. It's a fun game. They did flex that game out, though. It was supposed to be the 8:00 game. They moved the Giants Commanders game to 8:00 because nobody really cares about the Patriots or the Raiders right now. So think about that. Think about where New England's fallen in the NFL world.
What time is the game?
4:00. They just pushed them back.
Oh, that stinks.
All right, my friend, it is.
Grounded to third. There's 1. There's 2. There it is. It's a triple play.
It's a triple play, my friend. It's triple play time. And we're going to basically decide who we start, bench, and cut from these 3 top NFL passing leaders currently, and that's Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow. I am first this week, so I will start us off.
It's going to be the same as mine.
I am starting Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, right now this season, 68.1%, which is the highest out of all these 3. 3,685 yards, 27 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. He doesn't throw interceptions, a 7.8 yards per average. So he's throwing the ball down the field. And I've seen what he did with Cincinnati, how rocky they were at the beginning. And you could see him carry a team and then make them improve enough to look where they are now. I am benching Patrick Mahomes. A, because he's won a Super Bowl. But B, I think he's still the most dynamic player out of these 3 that if I needed a play or I needed that special spark or something to happen, he could do that for me. Again, no slouch, but 65.8% completion percentage, 4,160 yards passing, 8.1 yards per average. So, again, he's throwing the ball even further down the field than most. 33 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. So the mistake factor of a couple more picks, but I would still say Patrick Mahomes. I'm cutting Justin Herbert. Just hasn't done enough for me in his career for me to feel confident enough that he could win or help my team win. Even though he's got decent numbers, only 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And I think if either he missed the game or something, because his numbers are a little lower than I would have expected. But and only 6.6 yards per average. So he's not even trying to get the ball down the field. I don't know if that's the offense or the guys he has, but I cut Herbert.
Okay, so that was close, but it wasn't right.
It was right.
Because everybody in their uncle knows that you need to start Patrick Mahomes because he is a dynamic player and he is special. He's a guy that can make a play out of nothing You know, you see it all the time with his little underhand toss, you know, to get completions and first downs. He can run the ball if you need to. You know, he makes the throws that you need to make. And yes, he does have a couple more picks than Burrow, but he is the guy that you need to go to, especially on a team of champions like my team. You have to have a champion, and he has won a Super Bowl. And, you know, so therefore, he is my starter. I am benching Burrow because he can get you there, and he can make players better. Okay. I think in a couple of years, we might be talking to Burrow is the guy in the league. I really think that. But right now, I go Mahomes. He is my best, and I'm cutting Herbert. I'm sorry. Yeah, you haven't shown that you can lead the team to victories.
So let me ask you this question: bigger upside, Mahomes or Burrow
Burrow.
at this point? That's what I'm saying. That's why I
Yeah.
went with Burrow, because I
Yeah.
feel like that there's a bigger upside still. Burrow still hasn't broken through
Yeah, I think
or
what
completely
Mahomes
been.
is what he is. This is what he is. He's not going to get any better. Burrow can still get better,
Yeah. So
you know.
so
But
mine was correct. Thank you.
no, it
Thank
wasn't.
you.
Not
Jay,
yet.
Jay, if you're still there, Jay, who was right on that one? Who would you start benching cut?
Yeah, he's gonna. Everybody knows he's gonna say.
Everybody goes with Ron.
Mahomes.
They feel
No,
bad for you. They
No,
feel
they
bad
don't.
for you.
No,
They
they feel
do.
bad. Feel
They do.
bad.
They feel bad for you.
They know
They-
that I'm money.
Your money. Yeah.
Money. Money.
Oh boy.
I should have like
you
my
should tell your
own
bank the
sports
same
betting.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
I should
All
have
right, my friend.
own
Let's talk some NBA
betting
action.
show. You know.
We're going to talk about. We'll bring him up right off the bat. Steph Curry. He has an injured left shoulder. He's going to basically miss a few weeks. Do you want to
Wait.
Him up?
I know why. I know why he has a hurt shoulder. Because Draymond's always crying on his shoulder.
Or he's carrying the team. One of the two. Yeah. Can you bring his picture up, producer?
Yeah. Where's the
and-
producer?
Where's he at?
Oh my
and-
God! Look at this acting.
Right. Look at it. And then even the people in the front row, like, you just see Jordan Poole in the background, like, not even concerned about it. Like, whatever, dude. All right. Yeah. He's faking.
Like you look at the people in the front row there, they almost have a smile on their face.
Yeah. I don't know. So are the Warriors done this season with this injury now? So
No, they're
are
not done.
okay.
You know, he'll be out in a couple of weeks.
A few weeks,
Actually,
they said.
a few games. You know, he'll miss a few games and he'll
So
come back.
They're currently 10th in the West, 14-15 on the season. But Curry leads the team in points, minutes, assists, and 3-point attempts.
Yeah.
So that's a big chunk of
Oh,
what
it
they
is.
do.
It is.
And then I looked at some of the teams. So they're going to play Philadelphia in the next 2 weeks. Philadelphia, Toronto, the Knicks, the Nets, the Grizzlies, the Hornets, the Jazz, and the Trailblazers. So it's not a tough schedule. The Knicks are playing better basketball. The Nets have turned it around too. They seem to be playing better. So
When they're playing.
which we will get to. So again, I don't know.
Poking the bear.
Yeah. But I would say this. Look, can Draymond, can Clay carry this team enough? Can Jordan Poole, step up and get 10 more points a game? Because right now he's about 10 points under where, Steph Curry is. Look, the Warriors are getting older. The window's closing. Injuries like this could hurt. I mean, that's one of those things where, again, you know what I mean? Somebody runs into you again, or you take a fall on the floor. It could be re-injured. He doesn't need surgery right now, which is good for him. But I'd be curious to see if they can overcome it, because let's just say they drop, maybe half of these games.
Yeah.
They could be out. You know who's in 11th spot right now, though, in the West?
Who?
So I don't think the Warriors should worry. The Lakers. The Lakers are in the 11th spot right now. And
they're doing that good?
They're actually doing better than a couple other teams, not many, but a couple other teams. The fact that pretty soon the NBA, every team's going to make the playoffs is, again, ridiculous as well, because you get 20 out of 32 teams make it now.
Yeah, when they're going to expand? Like, they need a couple of teams because this is ridiculous.
Bring back the Sonics. I keep hearing Seattle Supersonics coming back. Make that happen. I want that. Those were some great teams, man.
Yeah, and have Kemp playing too.
Right? No, I don't think he couldn't play when he was there. He ballooned. But that green, yellow, I love those uniforms, man. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So let's talk about a player that's returning from injury, and that's Rob Williams. He's going to make his return tonight for the Boston Celtics against the Orlando Magic. Do you think the team's rushing him back?
I don't know. I don't know.
They were saying early February, the return.
So probably, yeah.
I mean, originally it was like mid-January, early February is when he was due back.
Yeah, and that's why I say, Curry will probably only miss a few games because they probably exaggerated his injury.
No, I'm going to tell you what happened with Rob Williams. He saw Marchand and Coyle, right? Coyle?
No.
Not Coyle.
McAvoy.
McAvoy come back, right? and these guys came back and they were like scheduled, a month early.
And
he's
the
like,
crowd was just going crazy for them.
Yeah, he's like, I got to do the same thing. This is Boston. This is B-Town, baby. And that's what they do. We just come back from injury early. The problem with that I have with it is they did the same thing last year in the playoffs. And that's why the knee was jacked up again. And he ended up sitting out so far the first couple months of the season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look.
I'm nervous.
The Celtics organization hasn't exactly been stellar with handling injuries and players and contracts, in since what, the 80s?
Hey, but they got the bird rule. They made the bird rule based on Larry. So
yeah,
look at that.
I know they did that. Ooh. And what, they've won one championship since?
One.
Yeah.
So team's currently 13th defensively. 112.6 points per game they're giving up. The key to this would be again, can he help them spark that defensive prowess they had last year? So defensive rating, which is basically an average of the estimated scoring of per 100 possessions last year,
right.
102. So they give up 10 less points per game when he's playing.
Yeah.
And if you think about the number one offense in the league, if they can continue to ride that wave, Malcolm Brogdon is actually leading the NBA in 3-point shooting percentage, which is unreal. Like, he's having a phenomenal year. This could be a great move if he can stay healthy and they didn't rush him back.
Well, with Brogdon, if he's doing that well, because basically he's got two guys on the floor that are getting all the attention. When you have Tatum and Brown on the floor, Brogdon is going to be open.
Yeah.
Because they have to put an extra guy to watch, especially Tatum, how he's been playing. So he's going to be open. He's going to get lots of looks, and he has been, and he's been burying them. And now if you add Rob Williams into the fold, that's going to set a lot of easy baskets, with Rob Williams, because they can't watch everybody on that floor, because defensively other teams just aren't as efficient. And they're going to be running some of these teams out of the building, teams like Orlando and Detroit and, some of these others. They're going to get run out of the building. Do you want to piss off
any other cities, Ron, before we
move
on to the next topic? I mean,
I guess we can go to Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. Good job.
Houston can be in
San
there.
Antonio. Yeah,
San Antonio.
Yeah,
Indiana. They couldn't beat
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I said it. The Lakers.
Yeah. So there's a lot of teams that they can just run out of the building, because they're just not going to be able to score on the Celtics.
Yeah.
10 points less. Now, how many of those losses would have been wins? That's what, you're looking at that at this point, and the team is just going to be that much better. And when it all comes down to it, it's still going to depend on two teams. It's going to be Milwaukee, Boston going down the stretch. And
I think so in the East. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so in the East. It'll be interesting to see if. So we'll have to tune in, watch that game, and see how he performs.
Absolutely.
And then I guess the key would be to how many minutes. You know, they're probably going to limit his minutes early
Oh,
on
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
just let him work back into shape. But
Yep.
let's talk some Major League Baseball, and we'll bring up Chakra. Thanks for joining. We'll talk about the Rams and the Hawks
Chakra.
yet. We have not talked about the Rams. I mean, we'll fans are asking. We will definitely talk about the Rams for a little bit. Do you believe Baker Mayfield now? I mean, is this? I mean, could this be the route they go? Stafford is signed to that big deal, and I'm curious to see if Baker performs well now these next few games. How curious would it be to see if they decide to go a different direction?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, they already accomplished what they wanted to with Stafford. Now there's obviously some issues with his throwing arm. It is conceivable, and you can start seeing the writing on the wall that Stafford's getting up there in years, and he could retire. It's always possible that he can. I mean, he's been around what 13,
Yeah,
14 years
yeah,
now.
yeah. And then you got to McVay. Sean McVay there was a big rumor that he was going to retire after the Super Bowl win,
Yeah.
and decided to come back. Aaron Donald kind of convinced him, but Aaron Donald was also rumored to possibly be retiring. That team, honestly, to me, is going to be in a major transition. And
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield may be the reason why that happens. They may just say, look, we're going to go in a different direction and try to build around him. I mean, it's as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to assume that's the Atlanta Hawks. And if we're talking about the Hawks, I think it just we could talk about the disappointment on the fact that I really feel that they would be better than what they are right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
thought they'd be, top 8 easily.
yeah, and Trey Young just has not seemed to be that player this year that he's been in the past couple years. It just seems like he's quietly, he's not. I considered him the next Steph Curry. Like he's going to be that guy, shoot anywhere on the floor, could do whatever, and it's just not seeing it. Seattle, oh, the Seahawks. The Seahawks. Okay, I'm sorry,
Ah,
Chakra. The Seahawks. Seattle.
that's right. Yeah, he's from Chakra's from Seattle. That's right.
So, and we just said bring back the Sonics. So, what do you think of that, Chakra? Bring back the Seattle Supersonics. But I would say the Seahawks. Look, it was a nice story. You get rid of Russ. You see, some early success. Geno, Ron's boy, Geno Smith. And how that all worked out. But I don't know. I don't know if they overachieved. They're in my eyes, they're the New York Giants as well. Nobody expected this. They were going to be horrible. We can get the glove and the Rain Man back. Yeah, we just said that as well, right?
Yeah,
That was such a
I
good team.
mentioned Camp already.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Gary Payton. I just no guys got credit for defense like he did early back then. Like he was, it was a defensive league, but the glove, man, that was such a great nickname too, because it was like, yeah, he was just on you. But I just think the Seahawks, look, they're in a rebuild. The Geno Smith, it was a nice story, and I think he's done it, paid his dues, and done all these things. He's just not a winning quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. They don't have enough in Seattle. They're not there yet. They're not there. But again, that division too, it's other than the 49ers, I mean, that division's usually up for takes right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like nobody could have really thought that the Rams would be this bad. They've been horrible this year, even when they had all their players.
Yeah.
So they can't use the injuries as an excuse because it was already in motion at the beginning of the season that they were going to be terrible. And it's unfortunate because they really had a Super Bowl hangover.
Which happens.
And it does. And Cincinnati struggled out of the gate, but they've put it together. And you now see that Cincinnati belonged there, and, we're looking at LA and they're terrible right now. And Seattle was up for the taking, and they said, you know what, we can do something. And they've made it interesting this season. And, I'm still not taking the credit, Geno Smith has earned this year. I'm not anointing him as next year's starter by no means, but, I still think that they could make a move and go get a quarterback, or possibly if Baker Mayfield doesn't stay with the Rams, he could end up in Seattle. So that could be another option. Yeah. And when you have a receiver out there that is special, in Seattle, that's enticing. And then if you can get some offensive line and some defensive line in Seattle, I think you might have something there.
And what I would say is too, I think the Russell Wilson moving on helped them see that they have enough talent on that team.
Right.
Like, DK Metcalf, Lockett, they've got some offensive talent that they didn't need that quarterback. They can get a quarterback that can win. They've got to build that defense. That defense has been, ever since
and
the
it starts
Legion
with the lines. You have to have an offensive and defensive line. And that's why I say if they start there and, like I said, they may go after Baker Mayfield. They may go after Jimmy Garoppolo. They may go after Jackson. Just saying.
He's going to be a free agent.
It looks apparent that it's going to be that.
Yeah, it very well could be. All right, my friend, let's try to get some major Chakra. Thanks for the question. Let's get into this Major League Baseball. We're going to bring up Carlos Rondon, who has signed a 6-year, $162 million deal with the New York Yankees.
But you don't want to talk about this guy right here?
Does Rondon?
Oh, okay. I couldn't see the picture until it just came up on my screen.
So, is he enough for the New York Yankees to get to the World Series?
Wait, what's in this water?
Can Rondon get the New York Yankees to the World Series? What do you think?
No, not yet.
Give the Yankees some love here.
Look, they're gonna need
I'm
more than just
one
I'm
doing
pitcher.
it. That's what the fans in New York are saying right now to Ron.
Wait, that only sounded like 3 or 4 people. So,
okay, all right. I see where we're going here, my friend. All right, I will
Besides,
say I think
by the end of the season, you're not going to be a Yankee fan anymore.
This is a great move. Craig, thanks for joining. No, I love this move, and Craig, I'm going to tell you why.
It is a good move. It is a good move.
I cannot believe that New York Yankee fans would not be excited about. If you think about, we were criticizing this team in the season when they got rid of Jordan Montgomery. He was a lefty.
Yes.
In 21 games with New York last season, 3-3 with a 3.69 ERA and 114 innings pitched, 97 Ks. Rondon last season, 14-8 with a 2.88 ERA in 31 games with 237 Ks and 178 innings.
Yes, but we're talking World Series now. You're going to need another pitcher.
They're going to have to get bats in the bullpen. But now listen, Garrett Cole, as much as it frustrates me, is a good enough pitcher to get you 15 to 20 wins.
Yes.
Somewhere in there. Rondon, 15 to 20 wins.
Yes.
So you need a 1-2 punch in the playoffs. The Yankees haven't had that. And Rondon's pitched in the American League, so it's not like he's coming over and not going to feel comfortable. He pitched with the White Sox in 2021. He was 13-5 with a 2.37 ERA and 185 Ks. So he understands the league. He understands. This is a very good move. World Series is a stretch.
Not saying it's not.
But I feel like the New York Yankees are going to spend money. It makes them better, but they need to add other pieces. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest, Benintendi has been rumored. I would like that bat to come back. He's a 300 hitter. You need to get guys on base and then let Judge do his thing.
Yeah, and Benintendi with speed as well, too. So, and not too bad of a glove either.
Yeah.
So, look, the Yankees are a puzzling team of late. You know, it's like they almost have sacrificed, you know, the postseason just so they wouldn't have to, you know, get hit too hard with the luxury tax. And then you're thinking, wait a minute, what? That can't possibly be.
Not
But
the New
it
York
is
Yankees.
true.
They were
It is
running it like
true.
a business. And
Yeah.
Steinbrenner's son, Hal, was running it as a business. And I think this year you're starting to see, look, gloves are, he understands
Right.
New York wants a championship.
Yes.
They don't want to hear that you saved X amount of millions of dollars and your business is profitable. And you're
Right.
not bringing a title back to New York.
Yeah, and Boston fans can attest to this as well because
Yeah.
Boston has just totally messed up their whole off season. You know, at least the Yankees have took a step back and say, hey, you know what? We do need to get Judge back here. You know, we do need another starter in our rotation. So let's do that. Okay, so where else can we improve, but yet not, you know, overspend on that position? And that's what they're doing. They took a step back and they looked at what pitcher is out there that they can get for a great price. You know, yes, they paid him money. He got paid, but they didn't go after a Justin Verlander. They didn't go after a DeGrom. They went after a guy that can put those numbers up and
Stays
still,
healthy, right?
he's stays healthy and keeps the salary reasonable.
Like I didn't want Verlander, and people like you're crazy, but I didn't want to pay. He wouldn't come to New York unless it was a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
And that's again, now we're talking 41 dead money. That last year, I don't care. I know he's not going to be what he was last year.
Yeah.
Benintendi signed with the White Sox. We have breaking news, and that's great, phenomenal. So that doesn't help. So there's a piece that New York
yeah.
needs
So
to
that's
look
out
at.
the window. So, you know, but look, I mean, they can get somebody else to go there. So, I mean, look, people want to go and play in New York.
It used to be that way. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think it's highest bidder, and I think teams are starting. Look at you look at the contract that we just talked about with Correa at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Guys want a lot of years and a lot of money. And New York sometimes has that tendency to either say, look, we don't want the years or we don't want to give you the money. The Randone deal to me shows that they're at least willing to spend. If you're willing to say, look, let's make it a reasonable 6 years, 162 million. It's not 10 years and you're going to be 40. Like they, you know, the only one that they had to do the Judge deal. I like this move. I think this is a step in the right direction to show the teams at least willing now to spend money and change their mindset.
Yeah.
We talked about the Red Sox last week, and you let Xander Bogaerts go.
Yep.
And now they're talking about Swanson, Dansby Swanson, possibly to Boston. And you already had a guy, though.
Well, did you see the news on the Red Sox, who they basically just put on, you know, designated for assignment, which, you know, is to make room for our latest Japanese edition.
Hey, there it is.
You know, so to make room for him, the guy that was a key piece in that Mookie Betts trade, Jeter Downs.
Yes, he went down. Yeah, he went down.
Designated for assignment.
Yes.
So now, if a team doesn't claim him, then, you know, the Red Sox can still have him on the roster, but we all know somebody's going to claim him.
The
you know,
Yankees
they gave
have
him
to pick him up.
14 games. That's what they think of Jeter Downs. So they gave him 14 games, and now they know for sure. You know, the excellent scouting staff of the Boston Red Sox, you know, thinks that he is not good enough.
So the New York Yankees need to make that happen. Pick him up because it reminds me of the Rick Pitino thing back with the Celtics when Parrish not Bird, McHale not walking through that door. I was talking to my buddy the other night about, you know, Derek Jeter's not walking through that door and Mariano Rivera. We'd be Jeter's walking back through that door. Jeter's back.
Yeah.
May not be Derek, but Jeter Downs is close enough for me. At least we'd have a Jeter back on the team. But let's talk about one more team, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers. They picked up Noah Syndergaard on a 1-year deal. Do you think he can be a contributing factor for this team and help them get back or try to get back to the World Series? They've been trying and fallen short. Your thoughts on Noah Syndergaard? That's an interesting pickup by the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are just hoping to strike gold here. I mean, they're at the point where what do we have to do to get back into the World Series and win it? And I think they're just trying. They're just hoping that Syndergaard has enough left in him to give them a season to get in there. That's
He really
basically
doesn't
what
stay
this
healthy.
is.
Again,
No, he
another guy that
doesn't.
doesn't stay healthy. 10-10 last season, 3.94 ERA in 25 games. When he went over in the trade for Philadelphia, again, went 5-2 with Philly, with the Philadelphia Phillies. But I would also say that in the playoffs didn't look as good. Kind of struggled in the World Series. I just feel like they, to your point, if I was them, I'd be a little guarded. Get it?
Yeah.
Syndergaarded.
Yeah.
And you like that one? That's a Ron joke all day, every day.
Yeah.
But again, at age 30, and maybe his best years are past him, I think he was another one of those hype guys. That whole Mets staff, when they were all there, and you're sitting back and you're going, "Holy cow! Look at all these young arms, and they're going to be phenomenal." And then little by little, they all kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And he's the same to me. The same we said when he signed with the Anaheim Angels, like, what a great pickup this is going to be for them. And it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't a good fit for them either. So I'm just curious as to see. Yeah, I think he went 5-8 with Anaheim last season.
Not good.
So not a good move. But both of these teams, you think about the big markets, both of them trying to get back to the World Series. Look at them trying to make moves.
Yeah.
The Dodgers aren't staying pat. The Yankees have made some moves now. So it's interesting to see that you're starting to see all these small market teams, and you know what I mean? They've made their runs, and these big market teams are saying, look, we've got to start to put some money back into the pot and make sure that we get back into be relevant.
Yeah.
They got to be relevant. All right, my friend, it is face-off time. Our face-off tonight is about the NBA, and should NBA do something about the players actually taking days off, as they quote it, as rest? And the reason why this question came up was in Saturday night's game against the Indiana Pacers, then Brooklyn Nets decided to rest 8 of their players. 8. I think there's only 12 guys on an NBA team, or 15 guys on an NBA team. So more than half of their team was, out for that game, including their big stars, Irving and Durant. So one of us has to be for it, and one of us has to be against it. Yeah, I don't know who they are. And since I'm first this week, I am definitely against this. I am tired of the NBA allowing these teams to do this. As a fan, the average ticket price right now is $53.98 is when I researched. If I'm taking a family of 4, that's over $200, not including parking and refreshments and everything else you're going to do. I buy these tickets in advance, expecting to see Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. I want to see these guys, Ben Simmons on the court, right? Injuries happen. But for the most part, my expectation would be is if they are available to play, they're playing. Yet, it's not because of an injury. It's because you decide that you don't want them to play a full 82 games and you want to rest them so they have an opportunity in the playoffs. That sounds, reasonable until you start to say, okay, what's guaranteed you make the playoffs anyway? So then all those games you took off, do these guys still get paid while they're sitting on the bench and resting? Absolutely. So why is it they can't play in an NBA game and they should just be allowed to sit out because it's rest? Kawhi Leonard came back and basically has taken half the season off anyway. He plays like a handful of games every month. And that's it. What's the point? I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. The league needs to start to find these teams or start to suspend players who just it's no different than faking an injury. If you're not hurt, you should be playing. If you can play, you should play. Period.
Okay. After that period, I guess that's my turn to argue this point. And you said it right at the beginning of your statement. The average ticket price, the parking and the food and all of these things. Well, you know what? If your team has a habit of doing that, don't support the team. It is ultimately the fans' fault for going to those games, because if your team is known for doing this, don't support it. Don't go see that game against the Indiana Pacers because they're going to sit out all their players. Fine. Don't support it. And when it's an empty stadium and they look, "Oh, gee, why is nobody here? Why?" Well, because you rest all your guys during these crappy games against crappy teams. So that is why we're not supporting them.
What
So it's
the
the fans' fault.
No, the problem was the game was in Indiana.
It
And so
doesn't
that's what I'm saying.
matter.
They only get to see those guys once or twice a year. They paid their
Right.
ticket. So I may look at a schedule early in the year before anything's even set, and I'm going to circle this
Right,
game
and
and
that's
this
the
game.
point I'm making, Eric. Don't support them. Don't support them.
But
If
again,
if
how do
you're an
they know?
Indiana Pacer fan and you want to go see Kevin
Yes,
Durant, move to New York. That's all I can tell you.
that
Because the
that's
good chance
exactly
that
what
you're
they should
not
do.
going to say
You
it.
know what? Let's just move on. Yeah, I'm going to move across
Look,
the country because
don't
because
support the team.
because a guy's making $29 million a year,
Look,
and
we say this all the time about these teams that they're
you
constantly
know what? I'm
just
not going to work tomorrow. You know
recycling.
why? Because I need rest. I just need a rest.
Right, yeah, and yeah,
That's not how
see
the
how
real
that
world
works.
works. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But this is sports entertainment at its best, right? So,
We don't entertain because we don't show up.
no, well, what I'm saying is
It's
we
a
see these
joke.
same teams recycling and recycling. Orlando, Indiana, OKC, they're all doing it over in Sacramento. How many times do we see this, in other sports? It's the same teams at the bottom all the time,
There was
and
a
those fans are still supporting those teams.
I don't
Why?
I don't recall last season this happened. Steph Curry and I think they all sat out. Him, Draymond, Clay, and there was a little kid at the game and crying afterwards because he had just wanted to see Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And I don't know, somehow Steph got involved and
Yep.
ended up flying the
Yep.
kid out, or they got him tickets to the next game they came and what. But it shouldn't get to that anyway. There was no reason for him not to play.
Yeah.
If
So
you want to,
maybe,
how about this?
maybe
Rest is.
the
I'm going to put you.
Pacers will fly all their fans out to New
Oh, here
York
we go.
to see the Brooklyn Nets play.
You're an idiot. I will say this. If you say rest, okay, maybe you're not going to play the whole game, but should you not play a quarter or play, you know what I mean? Sparingly, here's a first quarter, a little bit, some in the third, maybe a little bit of the fourth, just at least to give fans something. Manny, thanks for joining. Like, give me a break. The NBA needs to start to suspend these guys for doing this. That's how it should work, because that's what'll ultimately stop it. Okay, you want to rest? Here's a week off with no pay. Take your time, get your rest, and then at least the fans know going in they're not going to be there.
If you want to change something, you change how they get paid. If you don't play, you don't
Exactly.
make the money.
Exactly. You need to suit up. You need to get into the game unless it's an injury.
Yeah, and if you don't play, you get the minimum salary of a player, because I can understand not playing somebody in a game, because if you have your 15th guy on the bench, he's not going to get in the game, but he's a
He gets
minimum
paid.
paid salary, right? So your salary, for that game should go down if you're, a player that doesn't, get minimum salary. It automatically should go to minimum salary in that game. So that would certainly detour players from saying, I'm not going to play today. I want some rest. And so the problem is, Eric, with this situation, who gets suspended? Is it the coach that's just telling him, "Oh, you're not playing today"? You know what I'm saying? So you don't know who it is, so you can't really do anything about it. unless you do that kind of a rule with the minimum salary.
So when we start talking about sports and guys taking time off, this is why the NFL is so successful. Because until like week 16, 17, where you're either way ahead or you're way behind, that you stop playing other guys to see what they are, or you say, I'm resting some starters because I don't want them to get injured because we're already in the playoffs. And
Right.
that means the NBA, you're in the first third of the season.
Yeah.
It's not even like these guys that played 70 games and you're saying, look, I want to give them a rest, at least before the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're in the playoffs. You don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. It's game 30. We're going to rest. Okay. I mean, there's still 50 plus games left in this season. Major League Baseball, there's 162 games, and you'll see guys just, we're going to sit him today because he's played too many games. You're a professional athlete. This is what you're supposed to do, is play.
Yeah.
It's not you show up in a uniform, take a picture, and look good on the bench because that's what. Listen, we do this all the time. We're doing this for free because we look good at it. So that's why we do it. That's not what they're getting paid for. They're getting paid to put a ball in a hoop or rebound a ball or pass a ball, play some defense. Oh, no, look, wow. You know what? Kevin Durant looked really good in that jumpsuit on the side of the bench. You know what I mean? Talking to the fan. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely
but
a joke.
You can't, tell what the reasons are why they're not playing. Now, what you should be able to do is those teams that sat out all of your starters, that's when a team should get fined.
That's what I'm saying. Find the
But
team.
You can't discipline the player because they might not have a choice.
You always have a choice. You're telling me Kevin Durant says, I want to play. He's not going to play? And if he says he doesn't want to play, he won't play.
I'm
Whatever.
just saying.
Let's move on. Let's
Look,
talk
it all comes down to desire. Look, I'm not going to root for a team. I'm not going to root for a team that the players just don't even want to play. I want a team that the player will play no matter what, aka Patrice Bergeron with punctured lung and still plays.
Here we go with the homer.
That's an athlete.
Homer.
That's an athlete.
Homer.
Forget these guys that are just ridiculous and I don't want to play. I'm tired.
Yeah,
tired.
I won that argument. Thank you. NHL time, my friend. Let's bring up this gentleman who has reached 800 goals in his career, and your thoughts on the feat. And when we're talking about ranking,
my thoughts on his feet. What?
Yes, yeah, he's got skates. But what would you say his position would be now with the all-time greats? 800 goals. Only two other players have done it. Gordie Howe at 801, which obviously he will pass this season. And then Wayne Gretzky.
Unless disaster strikes.
894.
You're trying to jinx him.
You're trying so hard.
I'm not trying.
So,
I think
your thoughts?
Look, he's a great player. He's definitely. I mean, you got to put him in the conversation. You have to. I mean, 800 goals. Only 3 players have now done it. Only 3 in the history
of right. It's insane.
I mean, that is like when you're talking goal scorers. I mean, 1 or 2. Right? I mean, because Gordie Howe played for like a million years. So.
Actually, if you do the research, 1,000,001.
Oh, okay, 1,000,001. But like the conversation for goal scoring.
Yes.
Like he's top 2.
Yeah, and I think once we get to our pick and roll, you'll see because our pick and roll is actually a really good one, a great NHL one.
I've changed mine 4 times, and I'll probably change it by the time we get to it.
But some of those numbers, again, to your point, when we talk all-time greats, there's still some guys. Are we talking about practice? No, that's a good one though, my friend.
Practice.
We're not talking about a game, not a game. Practice.
Look, I mean, he's a hockey legend at this point and still playing. All right. The only question that we have to answer is whether he passes Gretzky for goals. Now.
It's going to be
He's
close.
got to be at least 2 years away, most likely, from now.
Yeah.
2 years from now. So he's what, 84 goals behind?
94.
94. I knew it was like that. So 94 goals. So if he gets 20 more this year, if he gets 20 more this year, he'll be 74 away, and I think you would need 2 seasons more.
Yeah. And again, 30 plus goals each season, right?
Yeah.
Actually, if I do my math, about 40, right? Each.
Right. I mean,
But again,
look,
that one, to me, in my eyes, that wouldn't surpass him past Gretzky. And there's probably guys on this list that actually I'd still put him below.
when you talk about all around players,
yes,
I'm talking about
just
goal
strictly
scorer.
goal scoring. I mean, if he does it better than anybody else, right? Then maybe do you have to?
Right.
Because we could say
like
the
right
same thing about.
now you got to put him number 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
would
it's the
think?
same thing. There's not a guy you put ahead of Tom Brady because of the 7 Super Bowls,
Right.
right? Because he's won that many more than anybody else.
Right.
And if you score more goals than anybody else, and that's the object of what we're talking about,
Right.
then yes, he would probably be the greatest goal scorer of all time, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But again, you're also going to talk about Gretzky did it in 20 years. It's about 20 years it'd be for Ovechkin as well. So right around the same time frame. So that you think about would at least you can sit back and say, look, he didn't play 25 years to get to it. He did it in the same amount of time as Gretzky. And then if he passes Gretzky in the same amount of time, then yeah, he can put the puck in the net better than Gretzky.
Yeah. So it's going to come down to that games played, right?
Yeah.
When does he break it? Does he break it before Gretzky's games, or does he break it after Gretzky's games?
And that's a great point. But then do you put him ahead of Gretzky if it took more games? Right. It's tough though, because then he has more goals.
Yeah.
All right. I am dying to do this pick and roll, my friend. This is the pick and roll of all pick and rolls.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest we've ever had.
So our pick and roll today is these 6 players, and there's actually more guys that have scored 50 plus goals in a season, but these were the top 6.
There's 94 players that have scored 50 in a season. And
these are the top 6. These 6 players scored more 50 goal seasons than any other player in NHL history. And they are, and we're going to decide from 6 to 1, Alex Ovechkin, crazy, we were just talking about him, he got on this list, right? Wayne Gretzky, Mike Bossy, Mario Lemieux, Marcel Dion, and Guy Lafleur. I am first, and I know, listen, you're the hockey guy, you know hockey better than I do. I will never, ever deny that.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Eric, before you even say yours, you're not wrong.
Thank you.
And whatever mine is, I'm not wrong.
Yeah, this is a great. All 6 of these guys are phenomenal hockey players.
They're 6 of
some of the greatest,
10 best players ever.
Yeah. So I will say I know you go sometimes the eye test and you know some of the things, and what I went is some of it was strictly on the numbers, because again, you've been following this a lot longer. So I will start at number 6 with Marcel Dion. He had 6 50-plus goal seasons. Phenomenal. 6. 731 goals, 1,040 assists for 1,771 points, a plus 27. That was a knock for me. 4 All-Stars, 2 Bing, 2 Persons, and 1 Ross. No Stanley Cup. So I had to put him at 6 because everyone else on this list at least won a cup. Again, great 731 goals. Phenomenal. But at 5, this is where I started to feel weird about it, but I did it anyway. Alex Ovechkin, even though he's had 9 50-plus goal seasons, 800 goals in his career, 645 assists. I gave him a knock for that. I didn't like that number. 1,445 points, a plus 76. Again, 18 years in the league, 12 All-Stars, 3 Hart, 3 Richards, 1 Ross, 1 Calder, 3 Pearson, 1 Smythe, and he won a Stanley Cup, but only 1 cup. Everybody else won multiple cups. At 4, Mario Lemieux, 6 times 50 plus goals in a season. 690 goals, 1,033 assists. I told you it's gonna mess with you a little bit. 1,723 points, a plus 114 in 17 years. 9 All-Stars, 1 Calder, 4 Pearson, 6 Ross, 2 Smythe, 3 Hart, 1 Masterton, and then 2 Cups. 3 through 1. I mean, 1 seems pretty obvious, but I went Guy Lafleur at 3. 6 times he scored 50 or more goals in a season. 560 goals for his career, 793 assists, 1,353 points, a plus 446 run in his career in 17 years. 6 All-Stars, 3 Ross, 3 Pearson, 2 Harts, 1 Smythe, more cups than anybody else on this list with 5. So I had to put him in. I felt like he had to be in the top 3. Now you're going to say, Eric, what is wrong with you? Why would Mike Bossy be the second on this list? And what is this list about? 50 plus goal scoring seasons, correct? That's what we're doing. Mike Bossy played 10 years. In those 10 years, Ron, 9 out of the 10 years that he played hockey, he scored 50 or more goals in a season. You know, the year he retired, he scored 38 because he said, obviously, I'm not scoring 50 anymore, and he gave it up. His last year, he didn't score 50. This man every year scored 50 plus goals. So I had to give him the notch at number 2.
As a rookie.
Right? Insane.
As a rookie.
573 goals in his career, 553 assists, 1,126 points, a plus 380. Again, only 10 years in the league. 8 All-Stars, so 8 out of his 10 years, he was an All-Star. 1 Calder, 1 Smythe, 3 Bing, and he still won 4 cups. Number 1 has to be Wayne Gretzky. By far, this man was phenomenal. 9 times he scored 50 or more goals. 894 goals, which is still the NHL record currently. 1,963 assists. So only a measly 2,857 points in his career. And the man was only a plus 520 in his 20 years. 15 All-Stars, 9 Hart, 5 Bing, 10 Ross, 5 Pearson, 2 Smythe, and 4 Stanley Cups. Wayne Gretzky has to be number 1 on everyone's list, but Bossy should be your number 2, Ron. That was my pick and roll.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I only have one thing different, and it might be because of biasness. Is
okay.
that a word? Biasness?
I don't think so. You make a lot of words.
All right. So number 6, I have the great Marcel Dion. Look, I don't have to
say
sit
the
here
great
and
one. I got nervous for a second. What?
No, look, you don't have to do numbers for these guys because the credentials are there. The credentials are there. And he is there because of the lack of that silver.
Yeah, not winning a cup.
And I think he's one of my favorite all-time players. Like, you know, I was a Bruins fan, obviously, but there was always something about Marcel Dion, and I watched him play. You know, he's just, you don't hear from him, and then all of a sudden it's in the net. That's what Marcel Dion was. You know, he was a great goal scorer. 5th all time, actually 6th, because I counted goal scorers that got 50, and I have him 5th on the list.
Wow.
So Gordie Howe did not have a 50 goal season, so he's the only guy that was there above.
And you think about, again, 2 less years than Gretzky, so possibly could have been around 830 plus goals if he did 250.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Number 5, I have Alex Ovechkin.
I did all right. Okay.
Mostly because, look, he's a great goal scorer. But if you're talking just goal scoring, he's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not talking just goal scoring here.
Playmakers.
He's just a dynamic player. He's got a great shot, a feared shot, and when he gets it on net, chances are good that it's going in. And if not, your goaltender's got a little dent. So I have Alex Ovechkin, number 4. You gave all the numbers. I mean, number 5, rather. Number 4, I put Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, and I was on this too. That right, him and Mario.
And it might be because of biasness, but I don't think it is because I'm not a Pittsburgh fan either. But
I think I went the 5 cups, though the 5 cups, and
yeah,
Lemieux only won 2.
Look, I'm not going to talk as much about Lafleur, but he was just grace on ice. I mean, it looked like he wasn't moving half the
who do you
time.
play
And
for?
then,
Ron, who do you play
yeah,
for?
Montreal.
All right, there it is.
Montreal.
Yes, yes. And we move on.
Oh, but boy. number three, I have Mario Lemieux. Now, if Mario Lemieux didn't have a back problem, I think those numbers that Gretzky had, Lemieux would have had them.
Yeah.
I think he would have hit those numbers.
Yeah.
And I think he could have been the greatest of all time. But that is part of the game. You know, he didn't have a Marty McSorley out there watching his back the whole entire game if anybody even breathed on Gretzky. You know, but that's the way it is. And so Lemieux sits there at number 3, and like number 3, if he could be Gretzky, then why would you have him at number 3? Well, because of number 2 only played 10 years, and he was the best player that I've ever seen play.
And can I say this, Ron?
As a goal scorer,
right? Can I say this? Just imagine he played the same amount of years as these guys, 20.
Oh, he would have blew all of them out.
We would have been talking about 1,000 goal scorer.
Yeah,
1,000 goal scorer. Like this guy would have scored 1,000 goals.
Yeah, he would have.
It's
and it wouldn't even be a question. And they probably would have won, you know, another 3 or 4 cups.
Right, just a short career.
Do
you know why it was only a 10-year career?
I mean, he did have injuries, so yeah. So I mean, it was shortened, and it is unfortunate, because there's a Bruin that could have been, you know, pretty high up on this list. I mean, he wouldn't have touched these guys, but Cam Neely with those knee injuries, you know, I mean, he was a great goal scorer too, and just didn't play the years, and like a lot of the time he was like struggling just to stay on the ice. So, but Bossy, look, this guy just scored goals, and
insane.
He was just a magnificent player, and the great thing is, I got to see all these guys play. I mean, I've been watching hockey a long time, and I got to see all of them, you know, and I feel fortunate, you know, because like these guys are just incredible. And Bossy at number 2, I mean, like you said, 9 of the 10 years gets 50
It
goals.
blew my mind.
It's crazy.
When I started this list, Ron, and I'm going through and I'm like, all right, his numbers, okay, 500 goals. Yeah. And I'm like, 500 assists. But wait a minute, though. And then I'm like, 10 years.
You know what the sad part is? You know what the sad part is, Eric? If he played in today's game, yeah, with
the rule changes and everything else,
he would have easily broke all the records. Easily. Because it was tough playing back then.
And then you talk about science, right? These guys able to their bodies and what they're able to do now that they weren't able to do back then. So phenomenal.
The medical, I mean, he wouldn't have retired if they had the medical capabilities.
I mean, think about it now. Guys blow out their knee. They're back in 9 months.
Yeah.
And I can remember 15 years ago, guys blow out their knee. You're lucky they came back at all and played at the same level.
And just going back to Cam Neely, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, at number 1, of course, you know, Wayne Gretzky. He sees everything.
857 points.
He sees everything. The only man that has over 200 points in a season, and he's done it twice.
Yeah, he's just unreal.
He did it twice. Now, there is a guy that I would have put ahead of Marcel Dion on this list.
Okay.
And that guy is Phil Esposito.
Okay.
You know, he had only 5 seasons with 50 goals. Only 5. But
horrible.
he is the 6th guy on the 50 goal scorers list in total goals.
And stay tuned for
So-
that. We're going to have a Sports Unfolded special.
Oh yeah,
50 on 50.
50 with 50.
50 with 50. So looking forward to that. We're going to talk. Ron's going to break down the top 50 goal scorers of all time.
Yes, and I'll tell you what a list. And it doesn't necessarily mean, put them in order of how many goals they scored. That's
I
not
like
what it
it.
means.
I like it. The playmaker, 2,800 points, over 2,800 points. It's ridiculous.
It is.
So if you think about it, you break that down 20 years, that's over 100 points every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you do the average, like it's just insane to think
It
about.
is.
Like, all right.
It is.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm not sure I want to go through this. So we early in the year we made a bet on our predictions and how this was going to all break down. And at the end, one of us had to wear some attire from the other's choice. Obviously, I'm being a Yankees fan. Ron picked
Look
the
at that week I
Boston
had.
Red Sox, and I had picked the Canadians. It looks like I'm going to be wearing some Boston attire in episode 1, so about 3 weeks away. But it's not over yet. You never know. Stranger things have happened. I'm not really optimistic about it. Last week was my chance if I had gotten any of those 5 different ones right, which didn't happen. But Manny, as usual, did pretty well again. He's almost at 500. And then Faceless, I was hoping joined tonight because 0-4, all 3 of his picks did not do. Both World Cup picks and the Navy Army game, he did not get correct either. But if you're still out there and you're live and you'd like to join in, give us your picks and your name will get added to the list as well.
Absolutely, it's
week.
fun. I mean, look, this is what we do, and we want everybody to be part of it. So
yeah, and again, we
picks.
we update this every single week before the show. So get your names on
that
there.
Ticker up there with the things. There we go.
All right, my friend. So I am first today. So 12-17.
So it's a 12 game lead, right?
12 game lead, my friend. So 12-17, New Orleans Pelicans at the Phoenix Suns. Suns have a little revenge factor here. They didn't like the fact that Zion did that 360 dunk at the end of their last game. And the Phoenix Suns are going to still lose to the New Orleans Pelicans because
Yes, they
the
are.
Pelicans are just playing so much better basketball.
Yes, they are. Well, I'll tell you, Zion is a beast, and I'll tell you, for a big man, he can move. He's got moves.
Yeah.
And his biggest thing, health.
Yeah. Listen, what a difference he's made. Being healthy, you think about it. They were, I think, the 10th seed, or they were one of those bottom seeds in the playoffs last year. They're the second best. They got the second best record in the West right now.
Yeah, I know.
With Zion. What a difference.
That's scary.
What a difference. 12-20, my friend. You got the Memphis Grizzlies at the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to go home team, and I'm going to go Denver Nuggets. Look, the Joker is there. They're playing at home. I just think that it's just, a little too much for the Grizzlies right now. I'm going Denver.
I also went Denver. Same reasons. I think the big man's going to make the difference in that game, and I just feel like the Nuggets are on their way now. They're going to start to rack them up a little bit. NHL action on 12-20, and that's the New Jersey Devils at the Carolina Hurricanes. I feel like the Devils are starting to come back down to earth a little bit, so I went Carolina in this one.
Yeah, I did as well. I feel that the Devils they're gonna need something to pull out of this, and this game is not the game that they're gonna do it. This is Carolina. Carolina is cruising. They see all these power rankings out there. They see New Jersey ahead of them, and they're like, "No, we're not having it." And this is the stamp right here. Boom.
So the Sports Unfolded power rankings have officially pumped up the Carolina Hurricanes, is what you're telling me?
Yeah. This team
Love
is going to be at least number 2 this coming week.
All right, my friend. 12-22. You got the Winnipeg Jets at the Boston Bruins.
Yeah. Look, they just had a
What an
clunk,
answer.
a clunker against the LA Kings. They had 15-0 record, after leading after 1, 15-0 record after leading after 2, and they coughed it up, and they look, the Bruins are a team that, unlike the Devils, can pull themselves out of it. And I think the Bruins are just that good, and they take care of the Jets, who have been coasting by in the Western Conference.
What about Benny, though?
Yeah, Benny's not playing.
Benny and the Jets? No.
No.
I also went Boston at home. Again, you have your hiccups, but they still technically, even though they got the loss, I mean,
It's an
they're
overtime
still
loss.
they're still so they're still
Still get a
15-0-2.
point.
I'm going Boston.
Yeah.
NFL action 12-17. So tomorrow, Saturday game. We got 3 Saturday games.
Yeah, I
Ugh.
looked at the schedule. It's like, oh, damn.
Manny, not Boston. Okay, Manny's in with Winnipeg. All right, Manny. Anything that's
What
not
about all
Boston.
those others, Manny? What's up with
Manny-
that?
Manny might be at work. I don't know how much he can listen. 12-17. So tomorrow night, Miami at Buffalo. Manny's going Buffalo. I am also going Buffalo. I feel like that revenge factor, and it's gonna, again, it's gonna be cold. Miami just doesn't want to play in it.
Yeah, I went Bills. Look, they're going to be home. They're not losing at home to Miami. Not
No,
2
and-
games today.
And I think it secures a playoff spot for sure if they win
Yeah.
this game. So a lot riding for them.
Yeah, they
12
want home field advantage.
Yeah. 12-18 New England Patriots at the Las Vegas Raiders.
I went New England Patriots. And I know Bill Belichick never does well against, former coaches. But I just think
Do you
I
have
just
like
think
an angel coming in? I don't know. All of a sudden, it was like a glowing light. and-
yeah,
No.
that means I'm right.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Look, I just think he's a fraud of a coach, and I don't think he can. I don't think he can make the
Oh,
right
boy.
decisions. He's just not going to make the right decisions.
Okay. I went Vegas.
I knew you
Manny
would.
went Vegas. I'm just not confident in the Patriots. I don't know what it is. This year's team does not instill confidence in me. 12-18, New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. And I didn't think we'd be picking. Think about it, where we were early in the year. Now that both of these teams are 7-5, and this is a playoff game for both of them.
I still don't like either team.
You're picking nobody? Going
Um,
tie? You going tie on this one?
It could actually, but I'm going to go the Commanders. I think they'll do enough to win at home.
Commanders playing better. Right now, the
Commanders.
Giants are starting to falter a little bit
Yeah,
and come
they
back
suck.
down to earth. So I went Commanders. I just feel like they're playing better football right now, and it's just a better opportunity for them to really do it. The team that had no name last year. All right, thank you, man. That would be the Washington football team.
Yeah, that's a better name than
Yeah.
what they have now.
So World Cup action. So 12-17. So tomorrow, you got Croatia versus Morocco for the third place match. You're up, right?
I
Oh,
first,
no, you
but
went. No, I think I'm first, right? Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I went Croatia. I just think, I think Morocco. Look, as great as they were defensively, I just think Croatia has been there. The experience that's going to make a difference. Check out Just for Kicks with Brian and myself. Great Saka, Manny as well has been joining in on those, and Ron. We've got the football bug with the World Cup, so it's been fun doing these. But
Football bug.
Croatia versus Morocco, who do you got?
Yeah, I just have a sneaky suspicion that Morocco is going to win this game.
Okay.
Manny, who did I pick on the
Just for Kicks,
episode 2?
the World Cup preview show.
I put it in the comments. So I just want to make sure that I'm not saying two different things. So, do we remember it all? Because that's who I'm going with. So
Okay, so 12-18, yes. So Sunday, 10 a.m. Argentina versus France, World Cup final.
yeah, Argentina.
Who's holding that cup up?
Argentina.
Argentina, can't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time. A lot of soccer's been played since then.
Yeah, so I don't know who I chose in that episode, so that is going to be my answer for that. So I'll have to get to you as soon as we're done with the show, Eric.
All right, Manny, do you have a winner for the World Cup? Who do you got? And I am also going Argentina. I just think Argentina is. This is FIFA at its best. They want Messi to get one before he rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
I feel like there'll be some yellow red cards. The defending champs, La France. Wow, Manny going with France. All right, I like it. I like it. So if you enjoy what you're watching, you got so many different ways to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. You can watch us live. We are Fan Interactive. We want to thank Craig. We want to thank Manny. We want to thank Jay. He was new to the show as well today.
Chakra _ power.
Right? So Chakra joining on Twitch as well. Continue to watch, follow, donate stars and bits to us so we can continue to help our show grow. If you'd like to sponsor the show, can you tell everybody out there how they can do that?
Yes, it's quite simple, actually. You can send an email to ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. It will be less than your trip in the morning before work to your local donut establishment for a cup of coffee and a donut.
Not only are we local, we're on SEC TV, and that's Public Access Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut, but we are also global, right? This is an internet we share, and you will have thousands of eyes on your business consistently. So continue to try to, support our show. We appreciate all of our fans, all of our followers. If you'd like to follow us on our social media platforms, we've been having that ticker. Just follow any of those. You can listen to us if you don't have time to watch on numerous different podcasting platforms. So we're excited about that. Ron, how we end our show every single week, we give a final thoughts.
Oh, here we go with your thoughts.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be about anything in the sports world. It could be about anything going on in the world today. I am first this week, so I will give you my final thought. And it's actually a sad one as we wind down the year. Last season, our last episode, we did a lot of the greats that had passed away last season, and we're going to do that again. Unfortunately, we had another one on Monday, and that was Mike Leach, the head football coach of the Mississippi State men's football team. He passed away at 61 from a heart condition. Thought he was feeling better and ended up actually leaving the facility and being rushed, I think airlifted to the hospital and passed away. So our thoughts are with his family and obviously the team. What a traumatic, way to try to, I don't know if they're in a bowl game. I think they were preparing for a bowl game and how that's going to be to try to, win one for the coach. But never an easy situation when you're actively, playing or coaching and now your players have to sit back and try to figure out how to manage life, not just sports. And I wish them all well on that journey and obviously his family and their loss. So that was my final thought.
Very good. Yes. My heart goes out to the family and the team and all the friends and the school, the whole bit. It's a tough time of the year for a loss too. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
like, double the impact. My final thought is a little happier note is basically a congratulations to, one of the best goal scorers of all time, Alex Ovechkin. He is going to forever be immortalized in hockey's Hall of Fame. That is a given, and it just goes to show you it can be from anywhere. And, in this case, it is a Russian player. And, we find time to set differences aside. He is a lot of people's favorite player. And it just goes to show you the kind of a community that the NHL brings in because they're literally from almost every country. I mean, they're from everywhere. And, so it doesn't matter where you're from. If you enjoy the game, you need to go and pursue it and play and just keep playing until you either make it or you don't. But if you're happy playing, it doesn't matter where you are. Just play the game. And I really suggest everybody, if you haven't gone to a game, go see a live game. Bring someone that knows the game, so that way they can explain some of the things that you don't understand for the first time. Go see a game. I'm telling you, you will not be sorry you did.
No, well said, well said. And again, just based off that pick and roll, if you think about all those phenomenal players, right, to be at 800 goals and only 3 players have done it in history. What a phenomenal,
Yeah.
feat. In again, one
It
of the
takes
greats.
so much, a lot of luck based because
Yeah.
of injuries,
Yeah,
but so much skill that we've got to see throughout the history of this game. And I do have to say, Maurice Richard, a former Canadian, was the first guy to do it.
well, hey, nice little tidbit there. Fun fact. Ron, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to do it again on Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every single week, we are live. We'll be on episode 51. Only 2 more left in the year. Wow. Do you believe that? Episode
We haven't
52,
missed a week.
It's going to be, don't jinx it, my friend. So, what I will say is this it's always a pleasure. Can't wait for next week's show. Check out some of our shows. We also do our NHL ranking show, our NBA ranking show. Sometimes we throw an NFL ranking show. We're going to have 50 with 50, a Sports Unfolded
Dynasty.
special. We've done dynasties with the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, and we're going to continue to do some of those next season. So season 3 coming up for us as well. So just continue to follow, continue to like, continue to share. All we ask is that you share and continue to get our show out there so everybody can join and enjoy some great sports talk every single week, every Friday night, 6 p.m. Ron, all we ever ask for in this world every single week is peace.
Have a great night, everybody.